All right, I've got to calm myself down. There's a lot I got to say. There's a lot on my mind, and there's a lot I got to say. I just am mad at myself for allowing this shit to happen. Now, don't say a word, pretend like it never happened. Don't say anything. Just pretend like it never happened. Well, there's a lot that I'm going to say, and there's a lot I've got to say. And I'm going to say what I need to say. So this whole encounter with this woman, Phyllis, a.k.a. Spencer Gallant, and Paul, a.k.a. Doug Gallant. At the same time, back in 2019, actually, if you want to get technical, it's been almost 4 years that I've been dealing with her. They kept calling me, and I didn't know who in the hell they were. They were lurkers. At the same time, I was talking to Michael Saunders, and I have really a vague memory of all of this. And again, I gotta keep myself in check here because I was so fucking angry that I allowed this shit to happen again. After the whole Saunders episode, Michael Saunders, I vowed that I would never be had or played again. Of course, Angela did her thing, and Roger did his thing. Roger did his thing twice. Well, Phyllis and Paul happened to be contacts. They were lurkers. They buttered me up. They found what I did to be funny. They would talk to me, and they found most of the stuff that I did to be funny. I never liked Paul. Well, let's call the bitch by his real name. I never cared for Doug. Doug is Phyllis's brother. Actually, Doug is Spencer's brother. All right. So I played along with it. They would call me on the weekends. Doug would always be drunk, and he was fascinated and fixated upon me as a person. Judge, he would used to say like that in his voice. And so, I took a liking to Phyllis. I'm not going to call her Phyllis. I'm going to call her Spencer. I don't address people by their fictitious names. So Phyllis, yeah, that was a fictitious name. And Casey would come to me and say, George, have you spoken to this woman? Because I met her the same year that I met Casey. And Casey was the one that got me to write the book. Casey inspired me. He said, I'm an author and you ought to go ahead and do the book. So I went ahead and wrote the book, and Casey, you and I were talking. Casey would joke around with me and whatnot. So I met Casey about 2019, the same year that I met Spencer and Doug. So I met Spencer and Doug, and we start talking, and they want to, and so it was kind of weird that it would have both these people. She would spend the night over his house, and then he would spend the night over her house. So I just wondered if they were boyfriend and girlfriend, and had no idea. Oh, no. So that whole thing progressed and whatnot, and then they said, well, Michael Saunders, we hate him. He's recording your calls and he hate him. But it's funny when I go back and think about it, when Michael Saunders said that they were going to get a woman, totally someone to troll me. And this is back like maybe 2020, right before the pandemic. Saunders said, well, Marty's going to get a woman. Marty's going to get a woman, and you're not going to even know what hit yourself, and she's going to troll you. And I just dismissed it. I didn't think twice about it. It wasn't really much to think about. So finally, throughout all of that, every time Paul would get on the phone, he would say something drunk, or Paul would say something inappropriate. It kind of pissed me off. So finally, he stopped talking on the phone. It was just me and Phyllis. Or so I thought. I had no fucking idea. Well, I keep calling her Phyllis. It was just me and Spencer. Me and Spencer talking on the phone. And I didn't know that Markland was a part of the conversation. I didn't know for any moment that Markland was a part of that conversation, because if I would have known that, I would have gone AWOL. I would have gone AWOL and it would have been ended. Though I guess they shared the same account. I don't know how the connection was. I think that mongoose is friends with her father. I think the mongoose is friends with her father. That's how the connection was to bring them in. Well, anyway, long story short, so, 3 years. And, they would talk about different things. I would do different voice imitations. I would, crack her up. Different voice imitations. She was into my humor, which was great, and I could talk to her. And when it came time to say, hey, look, let's do a virtual meeting, or let's meet online, or let's take, whatever, she never wanted to do that. And Casey said to me, George, you've been talking to this woman for a long time. Why doesn't she not talk to you on video so you can get to see her? And I just said, yeah, well, I don't understand it. And Casey would keep telling me, George, she's not real. For someone that doesn't want to tell you who she is, who she really is, and do a background check on her to figure out who in the hell she was, she was nothing on her at all. Not a damn thing. And then she says that she had worked for, she worked for a phone service that handles India scams. So he works like a detective or a PI. I don't know, but she works for a PI service or a detective service that handles phone scams, from India and phone scams and whatnot, which sounded kind of crazy to me. Then, she decided, well, she can't talk to me on Facebook anymore. I had to go straight to her phone. She didn't want to leave anymore, so I don't know what happened with that. She didn't want to use the Facebook, but it was a sock account. I put her on the fan page because she wanted to be on the fan page, her, and, she got on there. So I give her entrance to the fan page. And she would get on there, and she would see things. So the bitch goes ahead and snaps a bunch of stuff, because I'm wondering, like, how in the hell did that stuff get leaked? The Dolores Cummings account, that's the joke right there about the Dolores Cummings account, is a sock account that I created. It's a sock account that I created, and as long with that. And of course, I didn't know how the hell she, so she was questioning that. I said, well, she could be real. Maybe she's not real. So 2 weeks later, then the fucking trolls are in my fan page. So I knew something was not right. They try to tell me, well, Kristen probably is the one that did it. Kristen probably, and I'm falling for this shit, because there's no way that Kristen would do that. This Spencer chick snapshot all these pictures. Spencer snapshot all these pictures all together. So she was the one. She was the culprit. So I booted her off of the fan page, and I booted her off altogether. So she was bitching and complaining why she got booted off. And I told her, I said, look, this is kind of pointing in your direction. I didn't accuse her, but it was pointing in her direction. So I got her back on, but I never put her back on the fan page, because I knew there's a possibility that she could have been snapping those pictures, which in all actuality, she was snapping those damn pictures and gave it to those bitches. 3.5 years, almost 4 years of recorded calls and conversations that were left. And what she did, she got all of them. And she recorded all the conversations. So hating Saunders, feeling what Saunders did was wrong, didn't care for Roger one bit, and since, that Angela, was obsessed, which she was. Angela, since that, Angela was obsessed and thought that she was a Looney Tune. And so, thinking this whole shit was ridiculous, and how they were bringing up Jamie and attacking Jamie. she said to me, she said, I really feel bad for you. I really feel bad for you how they keep bothering you. So she played me like a fucking fiddle. Even Kevin said to me, George, she's not real. And I would defend her. I would constantly defend her to Casey. I got into arguments with Casey and Kevin because of her. Because I thought that they didn't know the situation. Well, Kevin and Casey were dead right about her. She was a charlatan and she was a fraud. All created by Will Marklin. And the reason why I don't think it's Rebillet, I don't know. Could have been Rebillet, but I believe it's Will Marklin that's been involved in this whole thing all along because it's his voice. So, that being said, this continued on and on and on. Until finally, oh God, if I'm leaving anything out, I don't know. But finally, it got to a point where, and I'm trying to get through this as fast as I can because I don't want to spend any more time on this, but I'm trying to do this in a cool head. I'm going to lay it out and lay it on the line. Her grandma had passed away around the holidays, and she was crying on the phone to me, crying on the phone about her grandma passing. And then this Doug character got a little mouthy. And then Doug made threats about, going to them and telling them all about it. So then she played it to be finally that she had no control over what Doug did. Doug went ahead and did whatever he did, and he made it so where basically, I don't know if he became the fall guy or if it was planned for him to be the fall guy to get emphasis off of her to make it sound like that he betrayed both me and Phyllis. And to go ahead and throw Phyllis also under the bus as well as throwing me under the bus because it was all a scam and recorded conversations. So she would tell me, well, George, I'm just as much as a victim as you are because I don't want my work to know about this and I could lose my job. Yeah, bullshit. I didn't want my work to know about this because I could lose my job. I say bullshit to that. This was all a played scam. And finally, it got to a point where just about a few weeks ago, it just hit me with some things that were going on, the things that she was saying, the things that she was doing and saying to me. And and then saying that the recorder, that Paul was in her phone on Discord, and, well, I keep calling him Paul. Doug was on her phone on Discord, and Doug had used her phone to give to Rebillet, which I know it's not. Again, I believe it's Marklin. So he gave them the recordings, or was going to give them the recordings, and she was petrified about that, saying that she had nothing to do with that, and she's just as worried about what could happen and how she's going to be attacked by these trolls as well. When all along, she was bedroom partners with the fucking Marklin and Rebillet. She was a part of trolling me ever since her conception to be involved. So she played like, that she felt sorry for me, and she played like that she didn't approve of what this whole shit was going on about this obsession, about bringing up shit. They were bringing up all this bullshit and all this false shit about me. She was saying that she didn't approve of it, and she said that she didn't approve of what they were doing, didn't approve of any of it, and didn't care for this Melanie or this Tony character, and didn't care for his damn wife Miranda. She told me that she didn't care for Miranda, Melanie, or Tony, didn't care for that shit, and she said that those trolls are psychotic. Well, yes, they are psychotic, but little did I fucking know that she was already a part of this ruse, and part of attacking me from the very beginning. She was in part of it. She was a part of it altogether herself. And it finally took a ton of bricks to fall on me to realize that I needed to cut her off, because the signs were pointing in that direction. And the old question about how someone got on my fan page, well, it was obvious how someone got on my fan page. It didn't make any sense how she had, basically that She pushed to her brother to be the fall guy. She pushed to her brother to be the fall guy, when in all actuality, she was doing most of the contacting to rebel it in Markland, and she was the one that was making the contact and giving the information. So it took me to finally to block her off of the phone, and then finally to block her entirely off Facebook. But before I blocked her off of Facebook, I didn't answer any of her calls. I didn't answer any of her texts. And she kept calling and texting and calling and texting. And then she finally admitted to her wrongdoing. But saying, oh, it was only 4 months. When in all actuality, it was 3 fucking years. She said, oh, no, it was only 4 months. And I finally realized who you were. And I realized the good, caring, decent person you were. And I stopped doing it. Yeah, bullshit. Because you've been doing it for 3 freaking years. Okay? Unfucking believable. And you think, and you admitted to doing it, and you think that that's all I needed. That was the icing on the cake when you admitted. You should have done that a long time ago. If what you said was true, and what you said was real about realizing that I was a decent person, and realizing that I was a good person, you should have done that. You should have done that a whole lot sooner. A whole lot fucking sooner. You did it when I fucking cut you off. You did it when I fucking cut you off and didn't say any more to you. Yeah. And so here we are. And then listening tonight. I didn't want to listen to this shit tonight. I didn't want to hear any of this shit tonight. I subjected myself to listen to it. I subjected myself to listen to this shit. And sure enough, I got enough earful to know that she was part of it all along. What do you think there, Spencer? You think that I would be that stupid? Huh, Spencer? You think I'd be that stupid that I wouldn't be able to realize and equate what 1 and 1 is and 2 and 2? You think I'm that naive? Unfucking believable that I fell for this shit. Again. And so I am not only angry at the circumstances. I'm not only angry at trusting this woman. I'm angry at myself for being so damn stupid and naive. And Casey, brother, I hate to say I'm wrong. You know, Casey, that I don't like to say that I'm wrong. But buddy, you called it. Casey, you definitely called it for what it was, and I didn't want to believe it. I was too close to the situation to want to know the difference. I was too freaking close to the situation to want to know the truth. That bitch could have been on The Young and the Restless, could have been on The Bold and Beautiful, could have been on any soap opera, because I'll give her this, she's a damn good actress. She's a damn good actress. She played me like a fiddle. And I shared with her intimate details. And for the record, I wore diapers for a short time. I didn't wear diapers all along. I didn't want to wear any. And I wore the diapers for a short time. Because the medicine that I take causes me to constantly urinate like a space horse. Like a Russian space horse. So if you all get off to that, and find that funny, then you all are so miserable with your fucking selves. If you find that funny, someone else have a medical issue to be funny, then you all are so mentally sick and mentally deranged and mentally sick in the head and just have mental issues all the way through. Miserable with yourselves. It's unfreaking believable. And here we are right now, 3 years later, and they have, I don't know what kind of content they've got. Supposedly they have 800 files, and now it's only 60. Well, that's good. 800 files is only 60. Whatever the case might be, it's enough. And then because I broke down on the phone, yeah, everybody breaks down every now and then. Everybody has a moment. Everybody breaks down. Everybody has a freaking moment of time where they've broken down. Doesn't make them any weaker. This is ridiculous. My private conversations being leaked by this bitch. My private conversations being leaked by the opportunist and this fucking extortionist and this bitch. I say bullshit. I say fucking bullshit. So, as far as I'm concerned, You know, I'm mad at myself. I'm mad at myself for allowing this ruse to happen. But God damn it, if paybacks are a bitch, and Spencer, may you rot in hell. Spencer, may you rot in hell, and may you get back 10 times as bad of what you did. Because what you did, it was uncalled for, and you still did it. After you got to know who I was and know that I was a decent guy, and you still played that damn game. It's bullshit. May you rot in fucking hell. So here's a moment. Here's what I'm saying. You know, I need to push away from this. I need to just forgive myself for allowing this, and move on. And I'm going to make sure that I knock those pages down. I'm going to make sure if it's the last thing I do that those pages come down.